Hey baby, me Chad and Shay, we want to squeeze your titties.
It's the Going Off Podcast with Rap Critic and Muse, and we got a very special guest, your boy and mine, Todd in the motherfucking shadows. Tell the people how you doing, bro.
Yo, I am stressed out as always. I'm always working, but it's good to be here. This is my vacation.
One of the albums we're reviewing is N.E.R.D's In Search Of. And something I found out while listening to that album is that there's apparently two versions of it. It's so crazy when, like, for the longest time, like, you listen to one album that way, and then the next thing you know, people are just like, oh yeah, no, that wasn't it at all. There's this intro, and there's this other part, and there's this whole mini plot about him trying to have a three-way with these chicks, which explains the Tape You song.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
How just bizarre that must have been for you. Of just like, this whole alternate reality existed since 2002 that you didn't know about.
Right. Didn't they used to do albums like that all the time? Where they would do like, you know, like the Beatles was kind of good for that. Like it would be like, oh, here.
I think they still do that a lot of the time. There would be a different UK version or a US. Like it's not that uncommon, but I didn't. N.E.R.D's In Search Of is like a completely different album.
Yes.
Every song is different.
Yeah.
It's not like in a different order or anything where they added some bonus tracks.
Right.
You know what it reminds me of? Okay, so there was the Sean Paul album back in like 2002, I think. It was the one with the Get Busy, Dirty Rock.
Yeah.
And
Shake that thing.
Yeah.
This good.
And on there was like a skit, right, that I did not know was there because my mom had got the UK version. Yeah, my mom listened to Sean Paul. But anyway, on that version, there's a skit in there where like Sean Paul is like, you know, driving his car and then he gets pulled over by the police and they give him trouble and he's like, what, don't you know who I am? I'm Sean Paul. But of course, in Jamaican accents that, you know, only Jamaicans can understand. But like he was like, look at
Sean Paul.
Yeah.
Sean Paul.
And he's like, look at today's newspaper. Like, that's me. I'm in the newspaper. It's like, what? And, well, if you're in the newspaper, that means you're a big deal. It's like, what the fuck is this skit? But
when was he ever in a newspaper?
Yeah, I was
for
like,
what?
Who does that? Because the guy goes like, if you're not in the newspaper, you're not important. I was like, how far? What past are you living in?
Even in 2003, when he was like the biggest pop star in the world and he was omnipresent, I never heard a single thing about him as like a person. Like,
That's a good point. Well, yeah. He's kind of like Flo Rida in that sense. You don't really like, you're not really invested in the personality of that person. It's just like, give me the hot singles, you know. But I think that's
pretty much.
But like, I remember listening, you know, I was listening to the Dirty Rock album, you know, getting nostalgic, listening back to it, and then that skit came on and I'm like, the fuck is this? So I had a similar feeling listening to this intro with, what the fuck was that? That we want to squeeze your boobies. Oh no!
Yeah, it's a little like I back like in the early MP3 era, I would download stuff, and sometimes they'd put in fake singles in there.
Yes.
Like they'd cut off or like there'd be like a thing in the middle of it where they'd yell at you for downloading stuff. But like I got one. It was I think it was like a Third Eye Blind or something extremely lame like that. It was just like the first minute or so on loop for like 3 minutes. And I listened to that over and over. It sounded pretty smooth.
It was like, oh, all right. I mean, you know, if it works.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that it faded out in the middle of a repeat of the first verse. But
wait, so you legit didn't know?
I think for like a good solid year. Yeah.
That's awesome. I remember something similar happened to me where it was like the song started and it messed up, and I never put together that someone was doing that on purpose. I thought it was just a legit mistake. Like, oh well, that's weird, you know.
You know, a funny thing with those early days of downloading songs, and if you weren't familiar with how it sounded on the album, I remember there was like a Pixies song where there's like a weird glitch noise that they put in the song, like it was their artistic choice. And a friend of mine said, like, back in the day he was downloading it, and he was like, I just thought I couldn't find a decent version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I was downloading all the buggy ones, but the whole time that was supposed to be there, but you have no reference point, so...
If we're going to talk about the early days of illegally downloading, let's just do that. What was another one? Because my mom actually used to download. My mom was weird. Like, she used to make a whole bunch of like CDs for us, like bootleg CDs and shit, like for traveling. And one of them was for Beastie Boys, Intergalactic. And I didn't realize that the person who uploaded the song uploaded the music video version. So for the first minute, it's like this epic. And I was like,
oh yeah,
what the fuck is
They
going
ripped
on?
it right from the music video.
Yes. And for the longest time, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, in these days of real smooth streaming, people don't remember that how like weird it was. Like everything had like skips or something, and you had to search very hard. To me, the correct version of "Life in the Fast Lane" by the Eagles has this like big old nasty scratch right in the middle of the solo. I mean, I knew it was wrong, but like now the right version never sounded right to me ever since.
Okay,
shit.
You know what's funny? I have a similar thing. So in the middle of "Triumph" by Wu-Tang Clan, during the Geniuses verse, another heart is torn as close ones mourn. Those who stray niggas get slayed on the song. And I, like, the version that I had, and the thing is, I downloaded another version of that song, and it still had that tick in there. It was like, niggas get slayed on the song, like where the whole song just messes up right there. And I was just like, is that just the way it is? Because I heard two versions of it. I was like, all right, I guess that's just the way it is now. And then when I saw the video, it like messed my brain up because I was like, wait, that's not how it's supposed to go. All right.
I don't know how you reminded me of this, but you just sent me back to my homecoming dance in high school where I was in a broadcasting club and we provided music for the dance. And because of some of the songs weren't like released yet, we were playing them at the dance, and you'd hear the AOL music in the background. Those fucking kids didn't give a shit, though. They couldn't tell. It was just
That's
like,
awesome, though.
hey, it's this or nothing, man. This is the only way we're getting the new shit.
Hey, speaking of homecoming dances, you want to know what they played at my homecoming dance?
Oh, what?
It was this album we started talking about at the beginning of this segment.
Seriously? Wow!
No. I'm a Virginia Beach kid.
Oh,
we were
shit.
all about N.E.R.D. No. I remember it would have been like October of 2001. My history teacher was telling me, he's like, yeah, I taught one of my students is named Pharrell, and he's in the Neptunes.
Oh my God.
And I did not know who Pharrell was, but I knew I'd heard the name the Neptunes before, and I was like, wait, what? The what? The who? The Neptunes? Yeah. Yeah, my student Pharrell is in a band called the Neptunes. And I was like, oh, a band called the Neptunes. I guess we're thinking of different people. Like, they're not a band.
That's awesome.
The first N.E.R.D album I ever listened to was their most recent one. I just never gave them a chance until that new album came out, and I heard the single with
Lemon?
with Rihanna, and I was like, oh shit, what is this about? So to listen to that album and then this one, it is starkly different. I did not know what to expect.
I mean, as long as we're talking about it, do you want to just get into it?
Yeah. Well, like this was back in the MP3 era, and I didn't really listen to albums much at the time, so I only knew the two big singles, Rockstar and Lap Dance. So this is a pretty new experience for me too, because I never went back to go like listen to the entire thing.
Me and my sister used to listen to these albums all the fucking time. The first two N.E.R.D albums, dude, we would play video games and play that shit back to fucking back. We would play Spyro, Crash Team Racing, all those early 2000s, games that they're probably recreating now.
What I was saying before about that newer album, which we didn't review on the podcast. I wish we had, because I really enjoyed that album, but the thing about it is that it's very politically charged.
Oh,
and
wow.
Lap Dance is the only, explicitly politically charged song.
Yeah.
And it's the first song, so it kind of sets a weird tone.
Okay,
especially for me, who had never listened to it before. I was like, oh shit, alright. And then that's just gone after the first track. So I was like, oh, okay. What the hell was that about?
And that's a political song in disguise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a political song disguised as a strip club song.
It doesn't really make it clear. Like, it starts off like, oh, I'm a dirty dog, which, can I just say, when Pharrell tries to be like the badass macho, I'll kick your ass dude, it's just like, I mean, all right, you know, like
no,
his voice.
He's a nice dude with some nice dreams.
Yeah, it's like his voice is so not that. It's so like, you know, like chilled and light and shit. So it's just like, I'm an outlaw, quick on the draw, something you never seen before, and I dare a motherfucker to come in my face. Like, all right.
And I'm happy.
Yeah, right. This album, as much as I love it, I don't think it's as good as the second one.
You don't hear about the first one as much as the second one.
It's very true. And I realized that, like, the more I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, I don't like this song as much. I'm like, oh, all the songs I really love are on the second album. So I was like, oh, all right. So going into it, yeah, like, the first song is a little confusing. Like, you know, with the whole politician line, but then on the choruses, it's like, ooh, baby, you want me? Well, you can get this lap dance here for free. And it's like, wait, is this about... It's like, oh, he's just such a man. He's so macho. He could just get this girl to give him a lap dance for free. But what was the thing about politicians? What's happening? Like, you know?
I've never visited one of these fine establishments myself, but from what Genius says, the whole you can get a lap dance here for free is kind of like a bullshit, like bait and switch to kind of like lie to you to get you to come over there, and then afterwards it's like, yeah, that's gonna be, but you know.
Yeah, and there's also no sex in the champagne room, no matter what a stripper tells you. So.
Like, with the government is making these empty promises is what he's trying to say, of like, is like a stripper offering you a free lap dance, because it's never actually free.
All right.
But besides that, the political message is barely there, because it's not really explored in the verses at all.
And then don't forget the Ringo of the N.E.R.D group.
Wait, there's a third guy?
Yes! He's on the album cover. But no one knows.
Is it really?
Yes, but no one knows who the fuck he is. I actually looked up, because I remember that being a thing. I remember talking to my sister about that and being like, wait, who's the guy on the album cover? And she was just like, I don't know. No, it's just his best friend that they played PlayStation with, I guess. I don't fucking... Like, my sister, that was a fan of the group, didn't fucking know who it was. And then I looked it up when I heard the things are getting better, because I was like, he had a verse on there too. I was like, oh, shit, he had more verses than I thought. And then someone, the official thing that it said on Wikipedia was like, his role in the band is often questioned, but in a recent interview, Pharrell stated that Shay is the root of the band. Like, sure. maybe he's
okay.
like, dude, maybe he's honestly the inspiration. Like, he's just the silent, you know, every time they come up with a song, he's just like, yo, how about I do a song about this? And Pharrell's like, you're a fucking genius.
The thing about N.E.R.D I noticed is that just about every song I wrote down as a note to remind me, because a lot of them are kind of forgettable, in my opinion, that the beats are almost always like the star of the track. Mm-hmm. And lyric-wise, there's like a couple on here that had like really stand out decent lyrics, but like most of them are just kind of whatever sex brag shit or whatever. It doesn't match the energy of the beats either. It's an odd mixed bag, this album.
That sounds about right. It's all the beats are what really puts this album into overdrive. And Pharrell as a rapper, he's a kid.
Yeah,
especially now. Yeah, like the lack of experience really shows.
Yes,
which is why, again, on No One Ever Really Dies, he doesn't rap as much as he does kind of sing. And I think he's the only one that does. Like, I think it's basically the Pharrell show.
Yeah, by now, I think
the other dude's just in the background.
Yeah, it's pretty clear what the roles of the other guys is supposed to be.
This is the formula that works. You know, like, you guys can write shit if you want, but Pharrell's gonna do all the fucking performing.
Okay, so things are getting better. Just the perfect example of, like, the awkward contrast. You hear the drums come in and he goes, like, check it out, bitch. And then you hear the like the little happy-go-lucky melody right after, check it out, bitch.
If I can make a point here, they're literally called N.E.R.D. Like,
okay, that's the thing. Yeah, like, why y'all talking tough? Like, what?
To be fair, I always call them N.E.R.D. I don't know. I guess they're called N.E.R.D. I never heard it said out loud. I always called them N.E.R.D. because I could not call them N.E.R.D. I refused.
It seems like it's like there's no way they want us to actually call them nerds. Like what?
Right.
I mean, they're up there with like Pusha T, who literally has the word Pusha in his name.
Yeah, like,
and they're N.E.R.D.
I will say Pharrell isn't getting a rap verse rapped back at him by Steve Harvey on the set of Family Feud, though. Darren, did you watch that clip?
That was fucking weird.
I don't know if you saw this, Todd.
I did not.
Pusha T, I think back in his diss with Drake, this kind of goes back a bit.
4 whole months.
And I'm just now seeing this clip that he said that Drake wore Steve Harvey suits. And this got back to Steve Harvey, and he took this as a diss. And on the set of Family Feud, it's on his official YouTube. Like, they filmed it while they were filming an episode. He's like, hey, you hear about this young guy, Pusha T? He just went on this whole big thing about Pusha T. And he's like, I make more money than you. Who is this guy? And he tries to, he's like, I'll rap right now. And the audience is like, woo! And I'm just sitting there like, no, fucking don't do it. And he's just like, was it like, hey, that's your name, and this is the game?
Yeah.
It's the most. It's so embarrassing, but the audience is digging it, because it's like, ooh, we're getting to watch Steve Harvey rap. How novel.
Are you sure that was Steve Harvey and not Kenan Thompson as Steve Harvey?
I didn't look close enough. You might be right.
I'm all in your ass. I got more cash. I'll do anything. I'll smack that ass.
Things are getting better. Has a great chorus, right? The do things are really getting better. It's just like, oh yeah, that I can vibe with that. I can see oh yeah, things if things are getting better in your life, I can see you playing this song. It kind of fits it perfectly. But the verses have nothing to do with that at all. Like I said, walking into a club with a million thugs and lick on me, baby, but you can't own me, baby, 'cause I'm the shit. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, see, I really thought 'cause I'm the shit. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was funny. I liked that. That was the only thing lyrically I liked, though. 'Cause the beat, again, I loved the fucking beat, but lyrics are just kind of there.
Another thing about tone with this album, things change to Provider. And we just had 2.5 tracks or so of oh yeah, I sure love fucking. And the next song is, man, my life is horrible and I'm poor and homeless and I gotta sell drugs in order to make ends meet. I was like, wait a minute. It's I got kicked out of high school. I'm driving, halfway across the country to deliver this coke. Holy shit.
Like I said, I grew up again in Virginia Beach. It's got its rough parts. I got family out there. The rough parts aren't really that rough.
What's the funny thing? I remember hearing that Pusha T, when they got into dealing drugs, it was it wasn't because the usual stories survival and needing to do it because you got to pay. They legit just did it just because they thought it would be interesting. Which is well, god damn it, that's not fun.
Maybe that's the thing. Things were so boring. There wasn't anything to do.
You can't just do it because it's
I can
fun.
relate.
There has to be deeper social, societal commentary.
Pharrell's trying to make a movie sort of based on his childhood. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking of my life in Virginia Beach. And I'm like, this isn't going to be Menace to Society or anything.
I think the emotional spots on this album are some of the best moments. They're sparse, but when they happen, I think they're really cool. Especially when he says in the second verse, he's like, I don't want to be another cocaine story. Well, I find my sanity where I find my glory. I like the way it's set up, and specifically the little breakdown where he goes someday this will be over. We'll raise a family, I'll get a job, and I'll be a voter. And it's this sort of eventually we're gonna find that American dream, but till then I have to deal with this shit. And I like that sort of, I like that sort of contrast, the way they present that. So Provider is definitely The smash hit. That was one of the songs that I was like, oh yeah, definitely this one. You know, like, this is the one off of the first album that I definitely loved. And probably gave a little bit too much love to the rest of the album, which made me think I liked it more than I did.
My favorite tracks on it, just kind of skipping ahead, are... I liked Brain. I thought that was cool. I liked Run to the Sun and Baby Doll.
I was going to say Provider, Run to the Sun, and Bobby James.
Bobby James. I liked his singing, but then it really only gives you like 3 minutes of a song, and then the rest of it is just like,
oh yeah,
repeating.
That switch up. Yeah, I meant like at the end. You know, remember when it cuts in with the like that baby talking, and then it does this completely different beat?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is when they started doing the half of the song is one song, and half of the song is just a hidden track.
Yeah, and it had that baby from the intro.
Yeah,
that we otherwise wouldn't have heard if it wasn't for Bobby James.
I know. I thought that one was dope. Again, I liked how the beat actually. I felt like the beat worked with some of the lyrics, with the way it sounded very, you know, washed out and like dreamy. And then there's a lyric where he says, "Man, wouldn't this be great if it were just a dream? A lesson for you to learn, except you'd learn through me." You know, like in the movies when it ends with the scream, "Well, fuckface, I got news. This is real, and I did things."
I have that written down just because you never hear fuckface.
Yeah.
in lyrics, and that really struck me. That caught me off guard, and I was just like, whoa, okay.
I tell you what, I noticed the word boobs. And that kind of and that one kind of stuck out to me. Don't hear the word boobs used that often, I feel like.
Not by adults.
It reminds me of OMG. Baby got some boobies like wow, oh wow.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Tape You. And I love the synth line,
is.
Right? They had a dope-ass synth line on this track. But... okay, first of all, the girl moaning after every fucking line on the track, that got old. Where it was just like... especially with the, "Now girl, kiss her boobs, and you kiss her boobs too." And then let your finger dash in.
He sounds 13.
Yes! Oh, yes! That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, this sounds so fucking childish. And it's like, I'm not saying you can't make sex songs, but Jesus Christ. Like...
It's weird. The trying to be cool songs don't work. The trying to be sexy songs don't work.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like their sexuality, like the way they express it, works so much better. Again, on the second album, when you have like "She Wants to Move" and joints like that, where it's like, it's so much stronger. Meanwhile, you have songs like "Tape You," where he says, "Kiss her boobs and kiss her boobs too." I can't fucking take it. But then right after that, of course, like the worst fucking sex jam on the album is immediately followed by the most emotionally like bare track, or, you know, you have "Run to the Sun." In my eyes, an absolute fucking classic.
I loved that one.
The one dedicated to his grandmother, right after the song about filming a three-way, but whatever. And it's even more confusing because, like, the song, you know, the last song ends with, like, "and cut," you know, like, it's the end, you know. But then this one starts with "before you go," you know, and you're thinking, like, oh, you know, he's cutting the film. Oh, but before you go, I gotta, you know, I don't know, it's gonna start with some other sexual thing. And then it's just like, you know, "Yesterday I tied two rocks together to symbolize our lives and threw them into the ocean." I was like, whoa, okay, all right, this is the serious one. And I absolutely fucking love that verse, by the way. The way it's like, what Pharrell does well is stuff that's like really poetic, but as soon as you think about it, it's like, I mean, that was kind of stupid, but that sounded really sweet. Like, you know?
If you don't think about it too much, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, because even at the end of the verse, he says like, you know, I put these rocks in the ocean and tied them together till no one could see them, till no one could even believe that they existed, because those rocks are only for us and our existence. Never mind that. I know that was kind of weird, but anyway. I was like, that was great.
Was this actually supposed to be for his grandmother?
Yeah, actually.
The second verse I have written down specifically was amazing. That the music is, like, more sexy than, like, sweet. So, now that I know that, that's kind of weird.
It was slick. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, maybe not the time for that, but like I thought it worked. But now that I know the context, it's like, You didn't mention Truth or Dare though.
Oh God,
either.
Man. Okay, so all of Clips is, you know, Pharrell's kind of like pet group, and they don't really do a lot here for the couple of times they show up. It's just like, why are you guys here? You know.
It was a nice nostalgia thing for me to, you know, go back to this era when all this stuff was new. Whatever happened to that Pusha T guy? He didn't do anything again.
What's he doing these days?
Which game show host is he beefing with this week?
Oh my God, no. Oh man, I thought Truth or Dare. Was that the one with the most awkward? Man, Khalees. Jesus Christ, it's just like Khalees is a very limited artist in and of herself, but just on this track where they're trying to make her the firebrand sexy chick, it's just like, this isn't working.
She was barely there.
Yeah. And then, I'm on how did he say that? Because it was so fucking awkward. The lyrics on this track were so fucking awkward. I'm on the dance floor, burning it up, real hot. So, is it my turn to touch you? Look like you're buzzing on X with 3D effects. The way it was delivered, it was just like, what the fuck? What? Is he trying to be sexy? What the fuck is he talking about? You know, like, when you have lyrics like that, where you're just like, is he trying to be sexy? What the fuck is he talking about? It doesn't work. You know? The second album, the N.E.R.D album where he talks about, you know, fucking a mermaid with turquoise skin, that shit actually sounds, you know, weird and actually cool in a way. This just sounds awkward.
I'm curious because we haven't once mentioned Rockstar, and that's like the big song from that after Lap Dance.
Yeah.
You can't be me. I'm a rock star.
Man.
I'm running on the top of a cop car.
Can I say this? I absolutely do not like this song.
Really?
Yes!
I didn't really like it either.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Okay, so the mixing of what they were doing was so awkward. You had the rock band thing going, but then the melody that he was singing was like this Phrygian sort of descending melody, and it was like, da, 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 da. It kind of sounded like the, when in the early 2000s, the big thing was like using Arabic, you know, world music and sort of mixing it. But
yeah, it was. It totally was.
But this just sounds like they just took a rock band and then just threw an Arabic sounding melody over it. So to me, it just feels underdone. The music is definitely clean, but it feels like, and then Pharrell to be going, yeah, you fucking poser. You can't be me. I'm fucking Pharrell.
Well, fucking Skateboard P.
Yeah. Billy Badass over here.
The only criticism I had about that was kind of what you were saying about how, like, the song goes way harder musically, but Pharrell isn't trying to, like, match it. So, like, he's not bringing nearly as much energy, so it just kind of felt weird.
Yeah, you didn't hear? Pharrell swallows guys. He's so hardcore.
Wait a minute, what now?
That's a lyric in the song.
Guess you ain't heard that we swallow guys.
Yeah.
It's too damn late to apologize.
I mean, there was that line in the first track where he was, what did he say? I dare you to come in my fucking face. Like, you're a bit too forward. Is all I'm saying. You gotta
He
ease
swallows
up.
Guys.
Look, if you don't come in his face because he swallows guys. I'm sorry, this is horrible. Homoerotic lyrics. Did anyone come to them and just go like, "Hey, you know what that sounds like, right?" Like, I'm not saying like, look, if that's you, fine. Just know what it sounds like.
I've listened to this song over and over again, and I never noticed that till I just noticed it right now. So.
Damn.
Maybe I just think too hard.
The only three I have written down that we didn't talk about yet were Baby Doll, Am I High, and Stay Together.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was okay with Baby. The beat for that one's definitely dope. And then the, wait, please don't go, wait. And then in the background.
I loved the wait. That made me laugh every time. Wait. And then at the end where the woman's like, I gotta go. And he's like, wait, where are you going? Like he's trying to like flag her down. But like, I loved the roses are red, yellow and white.
You're right.
That part. Oh, I loved that bit. But Am I High and Stay Together weren't nearly as good in my opinion.
Girl, I feel like just a bird, though I am just a nerd.
Ooh.
What is that?
That's middle school poetry.
Right? Like, he wrote a whole bunch of poetry for this one girl in 5th grade, and he just thought all these lyrics were fucking pristine. Like, you know, when I get on, man, this is the album I'm gonna fucking make.
Or at least at the time, for like a good 5-10 years, he would wear his high school Letterman jacket, and I noticed that because I went to his high school.
Oh,
But
shit.
was very proud of his high school, which is a little weird because when I left that place, I didn't go back a single time.
I wasn't proud at all.
No.
Oh, and Stay Together. Okay, so I have to admit, they did end on a good note with the Beatles, like, you know, synths that they had in there. The whoop, 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 whoop. I thought that was really dope. You were my sun rays. Without you, girl, there were no days. Never dreamt to speak the phrase. Now, what the fuck just happened? Like, that's a good... I love having, like, things like that being sung. What the fuck just happened?
Talking about high schools being proud of their alum. Another thing that happened this past week, a high school in our county, Fred Durst graduated from there, or he went there for a period. It reminds me of the news story that this past week during a Limp Bizkit or Fred Durst, whatever,
Oh, we
performance,
gotta see that clip too.
Shaggy Too Dope of ICP. Tell me if this doesn't sound like the most 90s damn story you've ever heard. Runs up behind him on stage and tries to give him a drop kick.
Wait, you gotta see
But
the video though.
he
Did
lands
they
on
have
his...
beef?
I haven't heard anything recently. I think they might have had beef back in the day, but I don't know what they'd be doing except maybe just trying to get people talking about him. Because it seems like a publicity stunt. Shaggy Too Dope, for having experienced wrestling before, he does throw a pretty good dropkick, but he just lands on his fucking face.
All you see is the feet.
Fred Durst was like gently tapped
Yeah.
on the shoulder. It was like he didn't even know. Oh, he's in the middle of performing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, someone tapped on his shoulder, and he was like, I gotta finish this verse. I'm gonna turn around in a second. All right, what's going on?
I love the idea that it's like, yeah, he had no idea what was going on. He just thought it was like, dude, what the hell? I'm in the middle of rapping. Like, what? But I love the turn back is like, because immediately, like, a whole bunch of dudes, like, beat the shit out of him and
Oh my
drag him
god.
away.
Yeah, they're on him.
And what I love is, like, he just turns around and just like, what a pussy, couldn't even do it. Like, the shame that you must feel to be Shaggy Too Dope, to be like, haha, I'm gonna show this other 90s rapper. This is gonna be like the Eminem and MGK fight all over again, man, because when I do this dropkick, that's gonna be the fucking kill shot to show just how weak Limp Bizkit is. And then you just see that little fucking love tap of a kick. And then you just do the turnaround, what a pussy, like, really loud. So you're Shaggy Too Dope. You try to do this kick, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna donkey kick this motherfucker to the audience. You see the fucking, like something out of a movie, where you know how you see those movies where someone tries to do like this epic move, and then you see
it's all slow motion.
Yeah, and then you see the miss, and just like, oh. And then the fall down, immediately 3 dudes just start punching you right in your face, and as you're dragged away, you just hear, what a pussy.
See, if you were just walking down the street, right, just minding your own business, and then you felt a tap on your shoulder, you turn around and look, and you see it's Shaggy Too Dope on the ground getting beat up by 3 dudes. Is that really the first thing you'd say?
Yeah, that's weird.
I would be like, what the fuck is going on here? Excuse me?
I feel like Fred Durst has been like sneak attacked several times and has gotten the worst of it. He's expecting a little more from this.
This is his lucky day. Like, oh, finally someone missed.
Did he even know who it was?
Yeah. That's the thing I'm trying to figure out.
If he wasn't in the makeup, he'd probably be pretty hard to recognize, I'd imagine.
No, like, it looked like a good drop kick. He just missed.
He's got good form. That's the thing. It just wasn't close enough. What would have happened if he actually would have knocked him off the fucking stage? He still would have got beat the fuck up by security.
Yeah, exactly.
But God, that video just see Fred Durst and just flying into the front row. Darren, what would you give In Search of out of 5?
I'd give it a 3.
I would too. I feel like I need to go back and listen to that second album that everyone's talking about.
This is the one where I tell you, no, see, it's not this album that you need to listen to.
Is it in your fucking Patreon request queue? It will be once this goes up.
Todd, what did you think?
Oh, I still like that. That's maybe it's all, it's weird because I don't really listen to it like it's a rap album. I listen to it like it's a rock album. So I think I'm a little nicer to it. I'd give it a 3.5 or 4 or something like that. It's not as lyrical as most hip hop albums, let's say.
Yeah, definitely not.
Todd, I'm gonna go back. Some of the very first videos of yours that I'd seen were Taylor Swift videos.
Yes, I remember. Way back in the day. Whatever happened to her?
In the way back, yeah. So someone pointed out that if you would have told me a few years ago that Kanye would be walking around in a MAGA hat and Taylor Swift would be on Instagram endorsing candidates...
Like very thoughtful endorsements of...
Like, what's really going on right now?
People are making a big deal of, wow, Taylor Swift has never been political. Taylor Swift is never this outspoken about anything. Like, during the Kesha thing, she kind of stayed kind of quiet on that. She didn't really speak out too much. So, I'm more surprised that she has, like, a hard stance on something.
There's a quote, I think it's made up, but about Michael Jordan, like why he doesn't get involved in politics. And this was back when he was like the biggest athlete in the world. And he was like, And he's like, Republicans buy sneakers too. And this quote is probably made up, but I think that's where Taylor Swift was coming from, especially coming from, she was a country singer. She's not anymore, but she was. That's where she comes from. So, coming out of Nashville, coming out of the country, but she never really had a country audience. She had a teenage girl audience, even when she was country.
Teenage girls, they can be from the country too.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift didn't have the Dixie Chicks audience.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
And what's funny is that if you listen to country stations, at least around here, like an ex who can't get over a breakup, they'll still play Taylor Swift songs from like 8 years ago.
They totally do.
I think it was before Shake It Off. It was like a few albums ago when that scale started to even slightly lean more pop than country. They were mad.
I remember.
They took it as such an offense that like one of the biggest names in pop music
was a pop singer.
They were treating like, well, you're gonna miss us. Like, I don't think so. It's interesting that she's endorsing either side, because like I think the main thing that people are surprised by is that it is a Democratic candidate because she is from the South. And
actually, she's technically from Pennsylvania.
Is she?
Yeah, she's from like a tiny little town in like Amish country or something like that.
Wow.
And then she moved to Nashville as like 12 or 13 when her parents decided, and she's not poor. She may be rural, but she's not poor. She's never been.
Yeah, I never got that impression.
Then when she was like as a teenager, her parents thought, I think my child is very talented. I'm going to take her to Nashville. I think her dad owns the label she's on, Big Machine.
Well, no. Shit. Okay, well, of fucking course she's like the headlining goddamn act.
Well, it's not a big label.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
even now, it's not a big label.
What other artists do you know from Big Machine Records?
Who else is on Big Machine? Are there any other big names?
Ironic for a company called Big Machine. You know what's funny? Was it the songwriting team who wrote like Michael Jackson songs like early on? Weren't they called like, they had like a very generic sounding, like, this just sounds like a corporation sort of name?
Oh, something like The Factory.
Yeah, it was like The Association. It's just like, all right, that's just creepy. Why would you do that?
The Business. By the way, Big Machine's roster currently includes Taylor Swift, Reba McEntire, Rascal Flatts, and Sugarland. So, pretty big names, actually.
Oh yeah, the producers of the early Michael Jackson songs are called The Corporation.
The corporation.
Like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Why would you have that name?
They're a fucking wrestling stable. It's the corporation. Boo.
Come up with a better name.
Before we get into the second album, which is also a Patreon request, I just wanted to address that the first album, N.E.R.D, In Search Of, was a request by Hayden Hughes. And if you would like to request an album for the Going Off podcast, it is as simple as a one-time pledge to either one of our Patrons, patreon.com/rapcritic or patreon.com/muse. Check the pages for details. Next is one of Darren's requests. Czarface meets Metal Face, which is a shitty name for the long-awaited... well, you know what? Actually, I'm wrong. The long-awaited crossover is the Ghostface MF Doom album, which we're saying we're just never going to see. This one, on the other hand...
MF Doom just said, fuck it. What other member of the Wu-Tang Clan is there?
What other member of the group who also has a superhero persona? Because he got Tony Stark.
Right.
And they got Inspector Deck with Czarface. Ever since we did the last Czarface... It wasn't the last Czarface album, but it was the last one that we had reviewed. I was fucking hooked on that shit. You got a taste of Wu-Tang, some really cool beats and sample work, and for me, you got wrestling references. And you can't go wrong, because here I am getting all the fucking, like, deep wrestling references and thinking, like, shit, no one else is doing that. And now you got that, and you mix that with Doom and his style and the 70s Spider-Man sample shit, and it's like, oh my... For me, this was you know how like in wrestling you have dream matches where it's like, oh, if only this person could have a match with this guy, that'd be fucking great. This was like a dream album for me. I really, really liked this album and listened to it a lot and might have bought it this afternoon.
This was requested by Cliff Amal, by the way, on Patreon.
Thanks, Cliff.
I haven't listened much to MF Doom since I'm not much more on the underground stuff, and it's like I remember MF Doom being a thing like 10 years ago. From what I'm understanding is like most people have not been, like he's been still rapping, it's just not been very good.
I do have to say, the lyrics here are not as like deeply... You know, the fucking, the labyrinthine lyricism that he's known for, you know?
No,
but
you're right. It's not.
Yeah. Because there's a couple of parts where I was like, that's not the typical Doom. But, for a lot of it, he's still just as good. And then on top of that, MF Doom not being as good is just like a normal good rapper, you know? So it's like, you can't really be like, oh, this is horrible. It's like, no, it's fine. I just expect better.
From what I remember seeing a list of like MF Doom albums ranked for like best to worst or whatever. People were considering Born Like This, his 2009 album, to be like his worst overall. Darren, what did you think of this album? Because I've been fanboying over this for the last few. What were your impressions?
I absolutely agree with you. I think this album is goddamn incredible. Like, man, every fucking song. Okay, so I don't know if this is real, but a long time ago, you know, in the cafeteria days, I remember a friend of mine, you know, listening to hip hop and sharing and talking about it. You know, it's where it kind of, you learn when you're young, all the new stuff to get into and shit like that. And someone was telling me about this one underground group called, like, I don't know if it was the Justice League necessarily, but the whole idea was that, like, they got a whole bunch of rappers together, and the idea is that they're all like, some people are superheroes, some people are villains, and they're all like fighting each other with raps.
Oh, that is such a sick idea. I love that.
Yeah, and it's like, but no one ever told me like who won or whatever, or like any more details about it. And I just remember that I think Jean Grey was on it, but I never found out what that album is. But holy God, this album kind of feels like that. This is like, all right, this is what I wanted. Listening to this album re-sparked that want for me. Like, I want a hip-hop comic book album. And I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, this is. I really like this comic book. Is Czarface the hero?
That's the thing. Czarface is supposed to be a hero, but he doesn't really put that across too much. I always thought he was a villain.
Yeah, I thought they were both villains, and the idea is that
Until Close Talker.
what the fuck?
Like, I'm the hero, and every hero needs a villain. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, if you look at the album cover, I've never seen a hero look like Czarface. He's just a menacing, monstrous-looking guy with fangs. And it's like, I always just thought he was a villain.
Yeah, fucking Close Talker. What the fuck was that skit? I absolutely loved it, though. But it was just like, the fact that it's like, at first it sounded like, oh yeah, this is the typical MF Doom, sampling some movie, some TV show from the 80s, where, some voice actor's doing, like, this really big voice, like, hey, you there in the middle, what's your name? And then MF Doom actually responds, and he's like, yo, it's Doom. And he's like, oh, I like it. I'm Czarface. I know a guy who can change your life. And he goes, who? And he's like, me. And then you're like, wait a minute. He's actually talking to the sample. Wait a minute. I don't think this is a sample. I think they just recorded this conversation. I was like, holy shit, what the fuck is happening?
The skits on this album are weird as shit, because there's that one, and there's also, You Masked for It.
That corny ass fucking title. You Masked.
And in that one, it's like a guy trying to sell them masks, but he's like conning them pretty much. Like, he's like, hey, maybe a dog needs a mask. Who's that masked dog? I love when he says that shit. Maybe you need a second mask. Leave it at your girl's house. But then there's this like weird mumble voice.
Yeah, the guy who's responding is
that
only
like represents
him.
The customer is like I don't fucking know. That was weird as shit. Yeah, I was like, what the hell's going on here? There weren't many skits. Probably better skits than were on the N.E.R.D album.
I like the skits. You're right.
I didn't hear the N.E.R.D skits because I only know the version I know.
Right. That's something we didn't mention during the review, is that not only was there an intro, but there were also 3 skits throughout the album that like were either at the end of songs or something that were also kind of telling the story. And I didn't take the fucking time to find those, listen to those, because I don't care about the story.
I found the intro that ended with talking about wanting to squeeze your boobies, and I was like, all right.
That's all I needed to hear.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get any more complicated than this.
Man, I'm at a loss, honestly, as to where to even start.
Metal with Metal. The first track where you hear like this sort of, what's the word for it? Like, not Baroque, but like Renaissance, battle horns going into battle, but then it slowly turns into it actually like a dope fucking beat, and you're like, oh shit, alright.
I thought it sounded like Zelda music, but I found out it's actually another Spider-Man cartoon sample from an episode that he sampled a lot on the album Food.
That's fucking awesome. It is just an episode of that show he just really likes. This is one of those things where it's actually, for me at least, more interesting to talk about where the songs actually aren't as good than the songs that are, because it's like everything is so just like, this is incredible. I don't know, just fucking listen to it. The main parts that I did not like were the Captain Crunch and then Captain Brunch. Was the same 2 verses?
Captain Brunch is credited as a remix. The only thing I noticed, and it's very subtle, is that to me, Captain Brunch sounds more
it's
like...
jazzier.
It sounds like an MF Doom song, while Captain Crunch sounds more like old school Wu-Tang Inspector Deck style.
I get you.
Captain Crunch has one of my favorite fucking sections in it, though, and I'm not usually the one to quote verses on here, but flow holy, no gospel trap, writing like Michael Crichton, put the trap in Velociraptor. I hit you like a trapdoor, when it rains it pours, no mental strains, but I stick out like Kurt Angle's temple veins. You got an empty brain, enter in my lane, it takes balls like a gender change, talking out the ass, check for the double cross like 2 Chainz at Sunday Mass, hit you with the belly, the suplex, off the roof of the duplex, will in a group text with Steely Dan Groot, fucking baby Groot, that goes to David Brubeck, Alex Trebek, Boba Fett, who's next? Dude.
It was a lot. It was absolutely a lot.
Don't sleep on your boy.
Esoteric fucking kills. There's tracks on this album where it's like, hey, don't fucking forget that Czarface isn't just one dude, motherfucker. I'm here too. And it's like, damn. In addition to that, if I'm going to talk about songs that might have not hit as hard, for me, those would be MF Czar.
I definitely didn't like Don't Spoil It. That was the Inspector Deck solo track where he was just talking about movies and he was just like making references to movies.
I thought it was clever, but it's not a great song. No. It's an entire verse comprised of the names of like hip hop related movies. It was a clever idea. Not as clever as Phantoms with our friend of the show, Open Mike Eagle, with a verse on there.
Oh, that shit was fucking... Yo, buy this fucking album, goddamn!
He's got a smooth verse talking about, like, video game references and wrestling references, but can we just talk about your boy, again, Esoteric? Fuck a phantom, I'm fed up with phony fantasies. Fuck Fugazi Fantasy Fam, we fam for family. Foes feeling free to forge with Fetty and fame. These fabricated, fascinating like a Frank Fazzetti frame. Fools falsify facts, friends figure it fine. They fail to fix, fraudulate a formulate a Frankenstein.
Man!
Blown the fuck away by that shit. That was...
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that done that well on an album in a while, because I'm sure we've heard it attempted.
Blazing blows blast, black and blue and blind blunders, clobbering calamitous clowns who clog my clinics. And
I actually do remember will.i.am doing an F-word verse. That sounds really weird to bring up, but it actually did happen. Let me see. It's a song called, like, Smells Like Funk.
I was gonna say it had to have been on one of the first two albums, because I don't see that being on fucking Monkey Business.
Yeah. That's way too artistically,
yeah.
artistically
ambitious
challenging.
is the word I think you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like he says, y'all funkin' with the funk family, the non-fabricated factual faculty. We formulating up in a factory, focusing on the energy of fluid flow tree. We flawless, everything is faux free. As you can see, it's not as good.
No, it is very much not. That's much worse. But it's much better than will.i.am is known for these days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Dude, you see they're trying to be all underground hip-hop again now? It's like, it's too late, homie.
That train's passed.
That ship is sailed.
Every track they're doing now is, like, socially conscious or whatever, but this is, like, after 3 or 4 albums of, like, goofy shit.
Of fergaliciousness.
Yeah.
Exactly, where they were in the spotlight and could have brought important messages. And what's really funny to me is that their biggest hit song up to a certain point was Where's the Love?
Yeah.
So you'd think they'd be like, oh, people love the socially conscious shit. Yo, well, let's double down on that shit.
That was their first big pop hit.
Yes.
You know, I wonder if that was because Timberlake was on it.
Yeah, but you'd think that would have dictated their future. That was their first big success, and they could make stuff like that. But like that was their pop sellout song, so they were like, well, social consciousness plus pop equals success. Why don't we just take out the social consciousness? And they were right. They were absolutely correct. That brought them where they wanted to be.
This shit's easier to write. Let's write. Yeah. And I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not even gonna try to front on stuff like that. Songs off Monkey Business, like, I still fuck with that shit. I still play those a lot. I think they're catchy and really fun.
Nah, I don't fuck with them after Elefunk.
Which one was Monkey Business? Was that with Let's Get It Started, or was that with Don't Funk With My Heart?
No, Let's Get Started was Elefunk.
Monkey Business has Pump It, Don't Funk With My Heart.
Don't Lie, I See There. And I
think that one had My Humps though too, so.
It did. It very much did.
Yeah,
they were not originally going to release My Humps, but the beat was so fucking catchy. They were like, okay, we gotta. That was like the standout track of that song, of that album, believe it or not.
I love the song Fergalicious. I think it's one of the catchiest.
Do you now?
Yes. Yes, I absolutely love Fergalicious. Everyone go out there right now, listen to the fucking beat to Fergalicious. It goes in so many cool, interesting directions. will.i.am...
You're right. You're right. Now that I think about it.
He's a really cool producer.
He's a very interesting producer.
Man, we haven't even...
Oh, right. Back to the album.
I feel bad because with an album like this, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to say?
Like, it's... Okay, so... the only thing you could do with this one is just... Okay, alright. Let me try to use my reviewing powers, okay? We talked about metal with metal, right? Sounds like Renaissance marching music slowly forms into a more spacey beat. I want to show some more love to your boy Esoteric with the fucking, I'm back in rehab, no secrecy. I'm seeking treating for beating MCs repeatedly. Your petty vocals made for soft shit like Kenny Chesney's vocals. Mine are like Reggie Noble's. I'm like, holy shit. Like the fucking internal rhymes were just going insane. Like there's a fucking, it's like a fucking clock and every rhyme was like a fucking, cog, you know? The way that shit was just spinning perfectly. It cannot be understated how incredible this album is, lyric and beat-wise. Like, some of these tracks are fucking, I think it was, what was it? Badness of Madness was the one where MF Doom had like that weird spoken word kind of thing going on.
It's more of a slow down track. He has that line, I'm the one true king of this 1-2 thing. The way I kick bars and darts, you'd think I mixed martial's art with mixed martial arts.
And then, Forever People, that sinister ass fucking bass line. Absolutely incredible. Then with the fucking, I think it was Expected X saying, I amplify the five senses so ahead of my time, I don't speak in the right tenses. And then, MF Doom, where he said, like, I'm staying bent, this chain event Olympian, reading Corinthians, in a whip, a pimp being. I was like, ooh! I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I don't know why he's just, like, sitting in a car reading Corinthians, but that shit sounded cool.
I really liked the beat on Bomb Throne, that,
yes.
Oh, the fucking Sam. Oh, that one, that whole song was fire, in my opinion.
And the music video for that was cool as fuck, too.
Oh, yeah, they made a little animated music video for it.
Yeah, we're just encapsulating the Saturday morning cartoon action figure-ness of it all.
Astral Traveling features Vinny Paz of Jedi Mind Tricks, who also made a lot of wrestling references in their shit, so it makes sense.
I love how the beat switched up for each verse. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was pretty fucking cool. Where it's just like each time I was like, oh. And you know, usually like on that one track with Drake on Astro World, Travis Scott's album, where it was just like there was a beat that started and then it just switched to something else, and it's just like, I mean, but I wanted that beat though. That was better.
Oh, yeah.
With this one, all three beats are like, ooh, this one's cool. Ooh, and this one's happening. Oh shit! All right, you're switching it up again.
Talking about your internal rhymes with Esoteric. Sorry, let out an epic laugh as I'm etching graph on your epitaph. Deadly crash, weapons flash. I'm forever first, you're forever last. You're playing chess with someone with a checkered past. Like, and fucking Deck has a great verse on that one too. Everyone is on their A game on this, except maybe Doom, because you did make a good point.
But yo, fucking Stun Gun. Where your boy
Esoteric
comes in.
solo song, yeah.
Man, there ain't an adjective to describe the way I tear the mic with a vengeance, unless I gotta be that guy and use erudite in a sentence.
Be that guy.
That is the dopest, like, smart guy brag ever. I mean, if I had to be that guy to describe myself, you know, I don't like using big words, but I'm just saying it's appropriate. And then he says, nah, these haters can't compete. They pray to God I'm fake, but I'm real like a Trump tweet. And then you hear the, damn. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like the sort of like, I love the appropriation of going like, man, there's not, like these rappers are looking at my rhymes and going like, damn, nothing I can do about this. This is just, and then that sort of double thing of like, damn, this is reality. Our president tweeted that shit. I love that.
I like that thanks to Genius, I wouldn't have caught this. It is a Esoteric solo song, but there's a part.
It's never set the stun, you better run, 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 run.
What you mean by it never set on stun?
No.
You're supposed to be on stun. Get yourself hurt, son.
And there's like a reference to a song on his King Ghidorah side project album where he says, and a reminder, always set your phasers to stun. So it's like, here's a little reference to the side project album that's like, shit, alright. Okay. Overall though, what would you give Czarface meets Metalface?
I would overall give it a 4.5 out of 5. Definitely check it out.
Overall, I came up with a 4, only because some of the songs didn't rank as high, like MF Czar, unfortunately. But like I said at the top, hate to have spoiled it, but I already bought a copy of this album, so I would recommend it. It's a strong recommendation for me.
I'd go with that. 4.5 sounds right. I only listened to it the one time right before we started, but that sounds correct. Yeah.
I just sent you the link for Hip Hop DX is the American Music Award. I figured we should get to it eventually.
Oh, I didn't even see anything of it. I did see that our boy Adrian Expression did a video on it that I'm going to have to watch after this. I haven't seen it yet.
I mainly want to look at who won, and just bitch about that for a minute, because we're music guys. This is our bread and butter,
Yeah, might as well inform me, because I did not see.
Artist of the Year, and we know who that goes to. The person who's been making the big smash hits for the past couple of months. You have not been able to ignore this artist. Taylor Swift. Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
She had one song this year, Delicate, and 4 flop singles before that. Well, I mean, they were successful. They weren't well received.
No.
Delicate was the only one that seems to really taken root.
Do you love this next one? It's sponsored. New Artist of the Year presented by Capital One Saver Card. Really? We're renting out the name of an award.
Otherwise, it isn't going to be televised. You know this. The only way this shit's going to be on TV is if it's a fucking commercial.
Well,
exactly.
It's not the Grammys, the Grammys are pretty bad to begin with. But
the Grammys isn't even the Grammys.
The Grammys at least tries to pretend to be about something, and there's the American Music Awards. Who cares? Who cares?
So that one went to Camila Cabello, who, not a new artist.
Yeah.
If you take into account Fifth Harmony. But,
right.
All right, cool. I'd probably put my money on either Dua Lipa or Cardi B, but...
And it means something, because Capital One said it.
Oh, what's in your wallet? Khalid isn't even really that new of an artist either.
Young, Dumb, and Broke, that's like a couple years now, isn't it? Like
fucking Havana being collaboration of the year. That feels like that's an older song
than it is. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would think.
I think it's in the past 12 months.
Yeah, because there's no way the middle is this year.
It's absolutely this year.
Yeah, the middle's only a few months old.
Was there another song that this sounded like? Hold on a second. Oh, wait a second. Yes! I was like, y'all motherfuckers didn't even try.
All you have to do is stay.
Yeah. It has like clock sound effects in it. I like them both. I can't even front. But yeah, it totally does sound like that fucking song. Or like Finesse. I would have maybe given it to Finesse. But alright. And then Video of the Year only has 3 candidates?
What? Oh, yeah, because we all know this year, they're just boring videos. Yeah, who gives a fuck about This Is America? Who gives a fuck about Janelle Monáe's emotion picture and all the fucking videos they gave? Who gives a damn, right?
God's Plan was nominated. That's a very good video. And it went to Havana, which I've seen. I can't remember anything in it.
I don't even remember the Bodak Yellow music video at all.
That was literally last year. That's like the middle of like, come on.
This is my favorite social artist.
What?
Candidates are Shawn Mendes, Demi Lovato, Ariana Grande, transphobe Cardi B, and BTS who take it. And okay, I do get that. They have a really big social media following. But Ariana Grande didn't get that shit.
It's for who has the best Instagram? Is that what I'm understanding?
I would imagine it would be like biggest, social media presence. That's what I got out of it. It's the only category that doesn't have a Wikipedia article of its own, so I can't find out what the hell it means. I love how Taylor Swift wins favorite pop rock album.
Jesus Christ. She won a lot.
What the hell?
No, she set like a record or something of most meaningless awards or something.
I totally fucking see that shit.
Congratulations. favorite male artist, pop or rock, winner Post Malone. So are we all just admitting that he's not hip hop?
Drake was nominated also, so I don't...
Can we all just admit that he's not hip hop? No, but...
And here, unfortunately, we've made this argument before. Favorite duo or group? The only three groups nominated, Migos, Imagine Dragons, and Maroon 5. So is rock just dead as a genre?
Yeah, because it said pop/rock. Migos is not rock. So
Wait,
you must be...
And they won.
Yes. Best pop rock group, Migos. Your boy, don't you remember that the guitar solo on Stir Fry?
He fucking shredded on that one.
Oh man, wow, that is honestly incredible. Like, how off the mark? Favorite hip hop rock, and it's not like they didn't have a rap hip hop category. It's right down here. So it's like, is pop and rock just synonymous now? Because that's not how I ever thought of it. Oh, just because Britney Spears had like a guitar solo in one of her songs, that don't mean this shit is fucking rock. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
It's because all the popular rock groups are also kind of pop groups, like Imagine Dragons, Maroon 5.
Imagine Dragons and Maroon 5.
I like how Shawn Mendes got favorite adult contemporary artist.
These genres really mean nothing.
Oh, wow.
Like, is Shawn Mendes even an adult? Like, what?
That's basically saying Shawn Mendes is the king of, like, dentist waiting room music, which is not exactly the fucking feather in your cap you want. This whole thing is a damn joke.
I would at least appreciate if they were just honest and just said, like, we just went on Spotify and just saw who had the most plays and just gave it to them. Because it's like, favorite artists, rap and hip hop. Your 3 choices are Cardi B, Drake, and Post Malone? Really?
Well, folks, that about does it for this week's episode of the Going Off Podcast. Big thanks to Todd in the Shadows for joining us after all this time.
No problem.
Besides the pop reviews, One Hit Wonderland, I know I'm forgetting some.
Train Records.
Would you like to promote your Patreon while we got you on?
Yeah, absolutely. If you like good, funny music reviews, patreon.com/ToddInTheShadows.
If this is your first time listening to our show, check us out on SoundCloud and iTunes. All the old episodes are on there, as well as on YouTube, which is where you're probably listening to this right now. Just search Going Off Podcast. It's GOIN''off podcast. Follow us on Twitter and YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, all the links are on the screen right now. Follow us on Patreon, and that's where you can request an album to be reviewed on the show. Until next week, for the Going Off Podcast, I'm Muse.
And I'm Rap Critic.
And I'm Todd in the Shadows.
I know a guy who can change your life.
Who?
Me!
10 feet, nigga.